Hey y'all, it's Male Singy, and this is Hoodoo is Political. I am gonna be talking about a word that's been on my heart for a while now. I got this download a while ago, but I was a little hesitant about posting it. But now's the time. I am gonna be talking about the current relationship between God, Allah, most gracious, most merciful, and the devil. Because I know a lot of us are not familiar with that updated version. We know about the biblical version. So I'm here to fill us in. First of all, I'll say that Allah is God. Allah is literally just the Arabic word for God. So Arabic speaking Christians also call God Allah. And also, God is the universe. Allah is the universe. We live inside of God. 1:11 when I said that. And also, Lucifer, the devil, Satan are all different entities. They're not really interchangeable, but I'll get into that as we go through the story. Okay. At first, there was nothing, and in that nothingness existed God. God created itself. This is the most incredible being ever, right? The one who created everything. So Allah created itself, the universe. And in heaven, Allah was creating more things because the universe is constantly expanding. And there was Lucifer, an angel who did not like how God was running heaven. Um, and so he tried to overthrow God. And of course, God won't have that. And so he got banished. Lucifer got banished and was wandering around the universe and finally settled in a spot and created hell, his own domain. And while in hell, he was just so angry and hateful and vengeful that he accidentally, 313, created the devil. Yeah, the spirit of pure evil. And he just conjured it up from his mind on accident. And yeah, so if maybe you're having the same question I had, I asked God, so why is the devil in charge of hell instead of Lucifer? Because Lucifer is the one that created it. God said, I don't know. I don't know what goes on in hell. After I saw him create it, I was like, well, okay. And so then I asked the devil. I was like, devil, oh devil, devil, singy what? So, you were created by, no, hell was created by Lucifer, yes. And you were created by Lucifer, technically. Okay, so why are you in charge of hell instead of Lucifer? And he said, I overpowered him because he didn't want to fight dirty because he has morals, because he was an angel. Remember this. Yeah, he ended, they were literally fighting, and he threw ashes in his eyes and stabbed him. So, yeah, pure evil. And then that all happens. Back up to heaven with Allah. Allah has been creating the universe and has been working on a plan for Earth at that time, is what's coming to me. And the creation of the Earth was created in 7 days, yes. But that's not human time, that's spirit time. Check it. All right. So, spirit time, there was no concept of human time because there were no humans on Earth yet, right? One night in the spirit world, 555, is 10 to 20 years here on Earth. But we're talking about days. One day is 25 to 30 years here on Earth. So, I'm just going to use 30 because that's the highest one. If we're doing the math on this, this is 210 years that the Earth was created in our time. So, in that time, there were processes that were happening to like form everything that is nature. And I'm like, wow, that's awesome. And so, um, the plants were growing, animals were coming into being, and yeah. Then Allah created the very first human. The very first human plucked from a star and put here on earth Lilith, 707. So Lilith was plucked from a star out in the middle of the universe and kind of like a shooting star. That's the vision that came to me. And that impact with the earth and her essence is what put free will into being. And so she's existing in the Garden of Eden and having a great time. Yeah. And then, remember, the collision with Earth is what gave us free will. And of course, we know the story of Adam. He was next. He grabbed a handful of dirt and animal bones and breathed life into Adam. So, he's introduced them both together. Y'all are supposed to populate because that's what y'all here to do. And he explained how to do it, and then they were like, great, let's go do that. And they were having sex, and God sees Lilith and Adam because he's always around, and was like, that's not what I told you to do. Like, you're not doing it the way I told you to do it. And she's like, well, that doesn't feel as good, so I'm going to do it this way. And then he banishes her from the Garden of Eden. And Lilith never technically died. The devil was so impressed by her boldness against God that he was like, come, you are going to be my daughter. Come live with me. And she was like, great. And then back in the Garden of Eden, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil is grown. It stems from the time moment where God was like, oh, humans can disobey me. Yeah, okay. And then he created Eve. Again, handful of dirt, a rib from Adam, breathed life into her. And also, 1010, I want to mention that Lilith and Adam splitting up was the very first divorce. So, divorce is also ordained by God if you're not equally yoked. I mean, the reason may have been a little bit off, but hey, we get to make our own decisions because we got free will. And so he did the whole process over again with Adam and Eve. Told them, oh, jeez Louise. And also he said, don't eat from the tree. Don't eat from that tree over there. And they were like, okay, great. So they go do the do, and the devil, we know the story already, 11:11. He goes up to earth in the form of a serpent with legs and tempts Eve. Not because she is a woman and therefore less intelligent, but because she's the youngest. She just got there. She don't know what happens when you disobey God. And he's over there as the serpent, and it's like, hey Eve, oh, you can talk. Yeah. And you should go eat from that tree over there. And she's like, but God said, don't eat from that tree. Yeah, I know. But that tree is the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. If you eat from that tree, 12:12, you will gain that knowledge. God just don't want you to have it. And right on time, just like a human, she said, wait a minute. I want the knowledge of good and evil. I want the knowledge of good and evil. Why didn't he want me to know it? I don't know. But if you eat from that tree, you'll find out. And so, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. She ate from that tree and was like, wow, this is delicious. That fruit don't exist anymore. Yeah. So, it hasn't existed ever since that happened, 1248. And she went over to Adam, like the story says, and gave him the fruit. And he was like, wow, this is great. Where'd you get it from? He's like, oh, that tree over there. And he's like, you mean the tree that God told us not to eat from? And right at that moment, they both gained the knowledge of good and evil and became ashamed of their nakedness, even though they'd been naked the whole time. And then they both got banished. And it was all Lilith's idea. I'm like, whoa, that was a curveball that I was not expecting. But listen, women do not be getting their due, because that was wow. And so, ever since then, Allah and the devil have been locked in. Well, they were locked in this battle between good and evil. I mean, they still are. Anyway, but humans, oh my goodness. It is way easier to be evil than it is to be good. And the devil was tempting, and God was delivering salvation and offering up to everybody. But it got to a point where humanity was so far off course on this path that he just sent the flood, wiped everybody out. Sorry, that's my tea. And yeah, killed everybody to wipe out the karmic debt and start all over. And it ain't work. It ain't work. So The devil, though, was having a great time. He was loving it. And he was just collecting a whole bunch of souls, being like, ha 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 ha, these humans are very evil. And then God sent Jesus, his son, his very first and only begotten son, to live a completely sin-free life so that he could be murdered in order to erase the karmic debt from every single human in existence at that time. And ooh, sorry. Okay, sorry about that. My nose is a little because I got the window open. But yeah, he was sent to save humanity. And that is when the devil had the brilliant idea to have his own son, Satan, 1660. And the whole point of Satan, oh, listen, I had this revelation, it blew my mind. I jumped up. The whole point of Jesus being here was to be killed so that everyone else could be saved. But the point of Satan was to get him to not do that. And so he was there to make Jesus kill himself. And they ain't have therapists back then. They ain't have no, medication back then. Like, so he was like praying, I can't sin either. So that was all just him and God the whole time. And I'm like, whoa, that's wild. And it still ain't work. Yeah, I mean, Jesus really did that, and it still ain't work. And so now it's at the point where Allah, the devil, have joined forces as ambivalent allies. I hate you, but we got to do this because the devil it ain't even fun. It's not fun. Humans just we're giving in. Like, that's just what it is. And they teamed up in order to maintain the moral fabric of the universe, which again is God. The universe is God. And so it's a thing of evil must exist in order for good to exist, because the good people will always resist evil. That don't mean that good people can't do bad things or horrible things, but as long as you're trying to turn your life around for real, there is forgiveness. Depending on the thing. Right? Like, there's still good and evil. Like, yeah. But if you're out here doing evil stuff, even if you mean well, that don't mean anything if you're out here just doing stuff and not caring. And that don't mean that bad people or even evil people can't do good things. But you're still an evil or bad person. Like, yeah. Like you're who you are as a person. That's really, really what that's about. Who you are as a person. Okay. Like I said, that's been on my heart for a while. And I believe that's everything. 20 minutes. All right, I'll see y'all later. Follow me on socials. I'm on Twitter, Male Singy, MAHLAYTSINGY, and Instagram at Queer Supremacist, all one word. You're gonna have to type out the whole thing because I got a few copycats out there. But yeah, and that was before I started doing the social media thing. I'm like, okay. Anyway, but yeah, type out the whole thing. All right. This has been Hoodoo is Political.